evening, everyone. My name's Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading's Miami office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Tuesday, September the 24th, 2013, and here is today's After the Bell Market Summary video brought to you by WallStreetTrading.com. Before I get into the video here, just want to give you guys a quick reminder. You can go check out the website. There's a lot of free educational information on the site. At the same time, you can find our videos on the website as well as on the YouTube channel, My Wall Street TV. Make sure you subscribe to the videos, share the videos. We do post a lot of information on our social media networks intraday, so you want to make sure you follow those distribution networks as well. Aside from that, let's go ahead and jump into the video here. I want to make this video kind of short and sweet. Well, I'm going to try. You guys know that never really happens. Feeling a little bit under the weather today, so bear with me if I start sneezing or anything. Aside from that, let's go ahead and jump into the charts. Dow was down 66.5 points or so. NASDAQ was up 3 points. S&P 500 down close to 4.5 points. We take a look at the breadth of the market today. We had 3,288 issues advancing on the NYSE, NASDAQ, and the AMEX, and we had 2,841 issues declining on the NYSE, NASDAQ, and the AMEX. Therefore, breadth was definitely in favor of the bulls today, but not by much. A little over 1-to-1 ratio there. I'm taking a look at the sector rotation throughout the day here. Financials were very weak. We had JP Morgan down 2.25%. We had Wells Fargo down 1.25%. Goldman Sachs was down close to 1.5%. Citigroup down 1.25%. So the financials were definitely weak. UBS down 1.25%. Morgan Stanley held positive today, but aside from that, the financials were weak. Let's see. We did see some strength in the home building stocks thanks to the reports from Lennar and KBH. That sector was up pretty nice today. The industrial goods sector did pretty well today. Consumer goods a little bit weak today. Basic materials mixed, and technology was weak today. We had some selling pressure in Verizon, down 1.5%. Had some selling pressure in TDC, down 2.5%. Red Hat was down 11%. I believe they had earnings yesterday after the close. EMC was down. DirecTV. We did see some nice action out of Yahoo, which I believe I mentioned that in the video the other day. But we'll take a look at some of these stocks here. Let's go ahead and jump into the charts first. I want to show you guys the weekly chart of the SPY real quick here. Some things that I'm seeing. First thing, we are having trouble trying to break and hold above this 170 level on the SPY, which is equivalent to 1700 on the ES. All right, you can see that we nipped above that level last month, closed on the lows. They rallied us back up, took out whoever was short the market above last month's high. They stopped those people out pretty much. A little shake and bake action, and now we're seeing this selling pressure every day. So after they got everybody excited on the no taper, people went home and kind of realized the situation is not good if they don't taper, because that pretty much tells us that the economy is still weak. And at the same time, they were saying Bloomberg this morning, what does the Fed know that we don't know, us investors and traders? So taking a look at the weekly chart here, I want to point one thing out to you guys. We had this nice little upward channel that I drew in on the chart from this low right here, from this high, from this low, this low, this low. So you can definitely see this is a relevant trend line. Take this relevant trend line down here, draw a little parallel trend line from this pivot high right there. That's where you get this little parallel trend line, and then you get some resistance, and then guess what? We hit resistance right there again. Last week they sold that level, and now it looks like we're forming a possible rising wedge in this channel against these key trend lines that we're watching. So keep an eye on this pattern. I mean, we can still float up, but we want to make sure we watch what happens on this weekly chart with this little wedge pattern that we have playing out. And I'm pretty sure you can find that wedge pattern on the daily chart as well from that channel. I mean, we have this little lower key trend line in right there, as you can see, and then of course the wedge comes in right. Let's see, I would say right about. I guess you can take it somewhere from right here. I mean. So the wedge pattern comes in place somewhere, I say, around here. Okay, let me take this. 1 second, guys. All right, so this is our little kind of wedge pattern that we see on the weekly chart. It obviously looks much better on the weekly chart. But in any case here, the levels to watch on the SPY, which closed down 40 cents today, down closing at 169.53. I mean, we sold off below that key 169.40 level that I mentioned to you guys yesterday, which is right below the 20-day moving average right here, and we closed right above it. So we are, we continue to see the selling pressure. All right, from the big up day that we had right here. Every day after that, one lower close, two lower close, 3, 4. So we have 4 consecutive lower closes right here. It is happening on declining volume. Okay, but still, I mean, the market has not been able to catch a bid. Some of the stocks are pulling back as well. Some of the stocks that look like they're going to make some nice pushes up, a nice push higher. Those stocks are moving back down. So again, let's keep an eye on this 169.40 level on the SPY. And if we break below that level, we'll be looking for a move down towards 168, which lines up with the 20-day simple moving average, as this is the exponential moving average up here. And then we also have the 50-day simple moving average, which also lines up at the same spot around 168. So 168 is definitely a level that we're going to be watching, which lines up with 1680 on the ES. Okay, 1680 or so. Let's go ahead and take a look at and then if we get above today's highs, you want to watch this 171 level here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the triple Qs. All right, and real quick on the ES on the ES S&P 500 futures, you can see we do have a nice little gap fill. Okay, right here around this low today and down towards the 1682. So if we don't hold above this gap support right here, we could fall back into this little area. If it happens overnight, which I wouldn't know, I wouldn't assume it would happen overnight unless the news came out. But if it was to happen overnight and we were to open it up at 1682, I would possibly look to be a buyer right there. But again, that's not happening right now, so we'll wait to see what happens. Triple Qs, Nasdaq actually looks pretty decent, just for the fact that we had this nice little consolidation range that we broke out of, that we were trading in, for about a good, let's say 6 weeks there. Okay, so about a good month and a half, we were trading this range between 75.30 and 77.30, $2 range. They broke us out 2 weeks ago, and so far we've been holding above that level. So let's continue to keep an eye on the Nasdaq. Keep an eye on those stocks. Some of those data storage stocks were rallying up pretty nice off the lows today. WDC, NTAP, SNDK. So we'll take a look at some of those names. Aside from that, same thing for the triple Qs. We have a 4-day pullback here with 3 consecutive lower closes, as you can see from my closing price indicator here. All right, and then again, if we were to get a pull back down towards 77 and a quarter, that would be a back test of prior resistance, now support on this side. So we'll be gauging the price action if we were to pull back some more and kind of hold right there, find some demand right at those levels there. Let me take a look at my NASDAQ proprietary channel analysis, which I like to show you guys sometimes throughout the video when I don't forget. All right, so we are hanging above this little channel here that we had. All right, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, what else do I want to take a look at here? Let's go ahead and take a look at the IWM, the Russell 2000. All right, was up 36 cents today. Actually holding in there pretty good. I don't think I got a chance to show you guys this chart the other day when I was doing my after the bell market summary video. But the Russell 2000 has a nice little upward channel in it here. If I take off the moving averages to clean up the chart a bit, the studies, I guess you could say, you can see the channel pretty clean there. All right, if I draw my 50% line of that channel, which looks to be about right here, so you can see we're holding some support around that median line, which is what I like to do when I identify a range or some type of channel or trend. Okay, so we're hanging around on that line right there, and the Russell 2000 actually has been hanging in there. All right, unlike the other indices that have 3 consecutive lower closes or 4 consecutive lower closes, this one actually has had 2 higher consecutive closes. So the Russell 2000 is definitely showing some relative strength. However, if the other indices continue to get marked down, I'm assuming this would follow as well. So keep an eye on the Russell and the small caps here. And notice how it's hanging around that 50% trend line. Notice how that 50% trend line was respected right here, and chopped around right here. So definitely relevant. Let's see. Let's take a look at that volatility index, which I'm pretty sure was up a little bit today, unless they sold it off the highs. Okay, the VIX was actually down 23 cents today. Let's see what this did. Take a look at the 50-minute chart. So the volatility index opened up pretty much flat, tried to rally up right here, pretty much broke down out of this range, sold off, traded sideways, and got some buyers and then the close. So nothing too crazy there. Pretty much a flat day on the volatility index. And let's go ahead and take a look at that dollar chart. This is the chart that I forgot to show you guys. This chart looks pretty interesting. Why? For the fact we were calling for the dollar to sell off. If you guys have been watching these videos, you guys know I've been talking about the dollar selling off and from this broadening pattern formation and going back down towards the bottom of this little trend line down here. Unfortunately, it didn't happen as fast as I would have liked it to, but when the Fed came out and said no taper, that was pretty bearish for the dollar. The dollar got marked down. Now they're retracing it into these moving averages. Okay, we're going to see if the dollar has trouble getting back above 81. If that is so the case, all right, we would see the dollar put in a lower high from these highs right here, possibly somewhere in this area. We'll be looking for a move back down in the dollar, as this is looks like a little bear flag possibly in play right here. And then we'll be looking for an up move in the euro, which we're going to take a look at the euro real quick here. And when I like to look at the euro, since I like to trade the euro futures sometimes, a /60, I look at that. But for the euro via this /6E contract, because I believe it is a little bit different in the reading sometimes from the euro over USD, but in this right here, well, pretty much no, it's not really. I mean, we're going to be looking to buy that same area, 134 on the euro. If it was to pull back some more back there, or if it was to pull back to this moving average right here and catch a bounce, we'll be looking for the euro. So we're definitely going into the next 2 days. We have the dollar on watch, we have the euro on watch, we have the commodities on watch, which have been not been able to really catch a bid. Let's go and take a look at gold futures, down $2.80 today. After having a nice little breakout on the Fed day, they pretty much marked that all the way back down. So there's been a lot of funky action since the Fed came out and said they were going to do no taper, and just basically a little psych out from the retail traders, and even some of the big boys got psyched out a bit, I would say. But we're marking the market down. We have not. One thing to notice here is we have not taken out the low of the of this big expansion candle right here. And as some of the markets, they took out their lows from that big expansion day that we had last week, Wednesday. Just one thing to take note of, whether it be a big deal or not, just something I'm taking note of. So gold, holding above 1300 looks good. It could still definitely go back up towards 1380, which was around the high from last week, Thursday. Right now, we're waiting to see if price action is going to come back in the gold. If you're looking at the gold, you can take a look at the gold miners, which these again have been trading pretty crappy. So we're just watching them to see if they're going to catch a bid again, like they did last week Wednesday. If not, they're going to continue to get marked down. Um, I'm looking at the DVC, and this is a commodities power share commodity ETF, and this thing, just doesn't seem like it's strong. And we're seeing a little bit of weakness in the commodities. They did have a nice little rally up. They've been marking it down since, but we're going to be watching this little area down here around the 25, 20, and 25 area. I should say zone. See what happens if we get down there. As some of these commodity stocks have been pulling back, like some of the coal stocks that were on fire, they've pulled back a bit here, and some of the other mining stocks, they pulled back a bit. So we're engaging this commodity sector to see what it wants to do. Uh, what else? We're gonna take a look at here. Let's go ahead and jump into some charts, starting off with Apple. All right, Apple was pretty flat today, down a 1/4% or so, after having a nice, decent day yesterday from the gap up and then giving some decent intraday action to the downside, then back to the top side. Apple, you can see, gapped up a little bit today, then they sold it right back down. May want to come here and fill this gap. Again, I would not be a buyer of Apple right here until it maybe forms some type of base or until it pulls back a little bit. So keep an eye on the Apple above 496 half. We'll take it up towards, I would say, 507 or so, and holding below 490, I would say we'll take it back down towards yesterday's lows, and then this nice little gap fill we have down here around 478.08. Amazon, which is near the top right of its chart, which has been showing some strength, up $2.64 today. We like this. We like the stock holding above 310, 311 or so. All right, we talked about this stock when it was down here. We talked about the stock when it broke out of this nice little downward bullish channel. You guys can go back to the videos and watch those videos back here in June when we're looking at this pattern setup. And if you've been watching the videos and following along, you have been able to participate in some of this price action here. But Amazon's definitely a stock that looks like it's trying to show some leadership in the technology sector in the NASDAQ. So keep this one on the radar. The daily chart looks good. The monthly chart looks good. The weekly chart looks good. And they have earnings coming out here October 23rd. And we also have the holiday season coming up here. So this stock definitely going to be pretty busy over there. Amazon looks interesting. Let me take a look at eBay real quick here. All right, same thing for eBay. Big range in eBay. It's trading in the range between 50 and say 57 or so. All right, and we are holding above the middle 50% line of that range. So this thing can definitely make its way back up towards that 57, but not a top idea. I'm just looking at it because I looked at Amazon. Let's see, some more technology stocks. Yahoo, we mentioned this in the video the other day. All right, this one looks pretty good. Did a little shakeout yesterday, which got bought right back up today, making new 52-week highs, or I should say new 1, 2, 3, 4, making new 5-year highs on Yahoo. Next resistance on this thing on the weeklies isn't until around $34. Looks pretty good. What else? WDC, we talked about this one in the chat room a little bit today. It didn't do some shake and bake action before, but take a look at this chart here. We have a nice key trend line from this low, this low, this low. So you know it's relevant from this low, and then we have this nice little trend line right here So you have this actually forming a nice little tight symmetrical triangle. Keep an eye on WDC. It looks like they pay some dividends tomorrow. They have earnings coming out in about 3 weeks. The stock can make a nice little move up. You can even say it's a nice little downward channel here, whatever you want to call it. But you do have this key trend line where price action is going to start getting tight right here. You want to see which way it's going to break. If you're looking at WDC, you want to make sure you take a look at the other data storage stocks. SNDK had a nice little bounce up today. Possible A, B, C move here in play. Let's keep it down this little zone. See if you can hold some support above this key 58 half area. Looks pretty good. NTAP, another stock in that sector. Let me see what this one did today here. NTAP, gap down, traded up a little bit. Nothing too crazy there. I like WDC better. The financials. JP Morgan, again, the stock that we mentioned last week that you would want to short if the financials were to sell because it was showing relative weakness to the market. And now look at it, right? We had this nice little tight pattern that was trying to form right here off this move down, and it failed, and they marked it down. All the financials are selling. They have earnings coming out in about 2 weeks or 3 weeks or so here. October the 11th for JP Morgan. That's going to be pretty interesting to see how they close or see how they trade going into earnings and after earnings. Goldman Sachs, all right, started rolling over today here. Was weak. This one at the same time, you could probably say, hell, hold on a second, is this at the triple top or what? You have this little area right here. You have this little area right here. You have this little area right here. It may want to come back down towards the bottom of the channel down here, which is around 154. You can see it has established a range, kind of at a little upward sloping angle there, but that looks like a range in play, big range in play. What else here? Citigroup down 1.25%. Again, just looking at the banks. Citigroup down again today. Looks like it wants to make a move down towards 47.61. Not too much to talk about here in the banks, guys. I mean, they're weak. They still have some more room down to go. Let's take a look at some of these high beta technology stocks that have been moving. Netflix. He had the guy come on Fast Money yesterday and said he was a sell, and right now they did not sell it. Again, he said that you could get short the stock with a stop versus a highs, which I think is a good idea as well. But they may try to push it up there a little bit to try to shake some people out, then mark it down. Who knows? We'll see. But once the stock breaks below 300 and starts holding below 300, it could definitely come in. Until then, it may be forming a range for a move higher off this nice little up move that it had. We'll see what happens. Tesla. All right, what did this stock do today? We traded this one yesterday. Didn't really watch it today. Tesla still looks pretty good, holding this nice little uptrend, power uptrend, call it. Nice little upward channel. Would not get short until it starts breaking this upward channel, or better yet, until it starts breaking, I would say, below 170. Excuse me. Prior support now, prior resistance should act as support on this side, which again, that's going to be around this 173 half level. We break below that, we have support around 160. Out of this range, you can see I have a nice little range right here. Let's take a quick look at the home builders. Lennar. Again, this is a Miami-based company, which is where we're at. They actually came out with good numbers. Let's take a look at the numbers here. They 1 second. Thinkorswim's not showing it here. Usually it shows what the earnings were looking like. But this time it isn't. Either way, you guys can look that up. The stock traded higher off the earnings report this morning. KBH also had earnings out this morning, and this stock traded up off of that news as well, off that report. So keep an eye on these stocks tomorrow. Lately these stocks have been, making a nice green candle, having a nice up day, and the next day being followed right by a down day. So be careful if you think these stocks are going to continue to get some more momentum. Here on KBH, I would say watch this 17 level, which has been holding as support. Resistance is 19, so it's in pretty much this nice little range right here. And that's what I'll be watching on KBH if you're trading that tomorrow. What else here? Let's see. Let me take a look at some other things real quick. A little bit under the weather today. Must be the weather change or something. Hey, if you guys are looking for a strong natural gas or energy stock in play, take a look at Rex. All right, nice little range breakout play. I should have gave you guys this last week. I've been stalking this one. I haven't told it to anybody, and missing out on a lot of opportunity here. But you can see it broke this nice little downward trend line, broke the range, and now it had a nice little Nice little up day yesterday to pull back a bit today. If it comes back down towards 2171, or better yet, if it does the setup which we like to tell you guys about, right, which is the trend line break, right, then you look for it to pull back in a bit and make a higher pivot low versus this low, or wait to see if it makes a little higher pivot low somewhere in this area without an official back test, or wait and see if it consolidates sideways and tries to push up higher as these moving averages catch up. Those are the three setups that usually happen when you break a little downward trend line like this, or a nice little downward channel setup. All right, and we trade these in the room. If you guys have not been in our chat room yet, it is mywallstreettv.com. Aside from that, I'm going to end it right here, folks. Hope you guys check out the website. Have a lot of great information for you guys. Check out the Facebook. If you're not a big fan of the Facebook wave, you can check us out on Google Plus at My Wall Street TV community page. Have a great day. Catch you guys tomorrow morning. Cheers.